Welcome, dear listeners, to a tale of love's fiercest trials and sweetest triumphs. Have you ever wondered how a single moment can bind hearts more tightly than any promise ever could? Today's story will take you from a gilded wedding hall to the shadowy corridors of justice, where love becomes both armor and alibi. Will the chains that bind become the very force to set two souls free? As we embark on this journey, reflect. What would you sacrifice for the one you love? May your heart remain open and brave. And now, let us begin. The courtroom buzzed like a hive disturbed. Judges, reporters, and curious onlookers leaned forward as Elara Quinn, hands cuffed, gown askew, stood trembling before the bench. Outside, the scent of rain-soaked marble lingered in the air. Her fiery hair clung to her cheeks. Her defiance was palpable even in defeat. She'll never see tomorrow, she thought. Across the room, Damian Blackwood sat in crisp charcoal, jaw clenched, eyes dark pools of controlled fury. As a criminal defense attorney renowned for dismantling impossible cases, he wielded words like blades. Yet behind that steely veneer lay a wounded heart, once broken by betrayal, now cautious. Flash. Judge Marlowe's gavel fell. Miss Quinn is found guilty of corporate espionage. Sentencing to follow. Gasps rippled. Elara's rebel spirit flared. "This is madness," she cried. Papers scattered, pens rolled. "Mr. Blackwood," the judge intoned, "you are appointed to handle sentencing mitigation." Bold hope flickered in Elara's chest. Maybe he'll help me. But Damian's stoic gaze never faltered. He rose, his polished shoes echoing on stone. As he passed her, the faint aroma of cedar and leather wrapped around him, reminders of the courtroom's grandeur and his own lonely office late at night. Later, in his paneled chambers, he proposed the unthinkable: a marriage contract. "It's legally unprecedented, but if you sign," he explained softly, "your fiancé, who remains at large, cannot testify. The state may reduce your sentence." Elara's tone was icy. "I don't even know him." He paused, meeting her gaze. "Name your price." Her defiance cracked. The only option was this stranger's offer. Instead of the expected gleaming band, Elara felt cold metal clasp her finger. Damian, equally stunned, found his own hand adorned with a sleek black bracelet, digital display glowing ominously. Not the ring, he thought, heart pounding. The bailiff blinked. "A tracking bracelet, Your Honor. She'll wear this until sentencing." In that breathless instant, their forced union transformed into a living paradox. Wed by law, divided by evidence. Damian's pulse thundered as Elara's defiant eyes met his. Damian stared at the tick of the bracelet's tiny screen. 12 minutes until the guard's next check. The prison's stale air carried whispers of desperation and hope. Each footstep in the corridor echoed like a drumbeat of fate. "What have I done?" he wondered, tracing the pale digits. Inside the visitation room, Elara sat across from him, hands folded on the slick tabletop. Her defiance remained, shoulders squared, chin high, but her eyes were shadowed with exhaustion. She leaned forward. "You promised to find the truth." His voice was gentle. "I will." Damian arranged for Elara to have a single cell near the library, hoping quiet might draw out her story. Instead, he discovered her midnight routines, slipping out of bed to leave carefully folded blankets on bedsides, tucking scraps of bread into corners for the mice, humming lullabies to frightened newcomers. She's a guardian angel here, he realized, heart softening. Late one night, he sat in the empty exercise yard, scanning security footage. There she was again, handing her lunch tray to a sick inmate. The guard's back was turned. No one noticed. Damian paused the screen on her profile. Elara Quinn, NGO volunteer. He leaned back, the metal of his chair creaking. "Secret kindness," he murmured. Yet happiness wilted when the next twist arrived. A thick envelope slid under his office door. Inside, a photograph of Elara meeting Cassandra Vale in a dim cafe 6 months earlier. Cassandra's smile was cold as steel. Elara's reluctant. On the back, a note. She betrayed you once. Now she'll do it again. Damian's pulse spiked. He replayed every word Elara spoke. Every kindness. Every confession. Was it all an act? That night, he confronted Elara through frosted glass. Her voice was brittle. I don't know what that is. He pressed a finger to the glass. I have to trust you. Her eyes trembled. I need to trust him, she thought, voice silent. As dawn broke, Damian's investigation took him to a rural orphanage in Salem County. Among dusty lockers and peeling paint, he found records. Elara Quinn, volunteer, age 17, saved a boy named Marcus from a fire. The director's dusty ledger noted, brave young woman with kind heart, kept secret family name. He fumbled for his phone as thunder rumbled. Opening the photo album, he froze at one image. A young girl handing a teddy bear to a small child. Marcus's eyes matched those of Damian's long-missing sister, Celeste. Impossible, he whispered. But the resemblance was undeniable. The same. Emerald gaze, the same hopeful smile. Twist 1, the secret sister bond. Damian raced back to the footage room. He overlaid Elara's face with archival images of Celeste. The match was uncanny. His breath caught. Elara Quinn was Celeste's savior, and perhaps her sister. No sooner had he pieced this together than Cassandra's voice crackled over. An anonymous call. Looking for proof, Damian? I've got more where that came from. Moments later, Elara received a letter in her cell. Inside, a USB drive labeled, Evidence that Quinn is the real mole, and you, Damian, were complicit. She held it like a blade. He'll hate me, she thought, tears blurring her vision. During visitation, she pressed it into his palm. This is why I stayed silent. Damian recognized the watermark on the drive. Vale Industries. He glanced at her, voice breaking. Elara. Why? That evening, Damian loaded the drive onto his secure laptop in the warden's old office. Files poured onto the desktop. Emails between Elara and Cassandra. Forged contracts. Bank transfers tracing back to Damian's pro bono fund. Highlighted. In red. Confirm ring swap. His heart thundered. She set me up. A cold fury rose in him as the bracelet buzzed with an incoming alert. Unauthorized device detected. He yanked the USB free. Too late. Alarms blared. Guards flooded the hallway. The prison's halls were a cacophony of metal doors and distant echoes. Damian's breath rattled in his chest as he sprinted, the stolen USB burning a hole in his coat pocket. I can't let her pay the price for my mistakes, he thought, heart pounding. He ducked into an unused janitor's closet, its musty scent of bleach and dust stinging his nostrils. Flickering fluorescent lights cast skeletal shadows against the walls. With trembling fingers, he loaded the USB into his own encrypted drive and skimmed the files. Cassandra's signature was unmistakable. Every forged email, every planted photo. Meanwhile, Elara was led back to her cell. The other inmates whispered rumors. She's the mole, one hissed. He's abandoned her, another scoffed. Tears blurred Elara's vision, but her resolve hardened. I won't let him suffer for me. Late that night, the prison's power flickered. An intentional blackout. Elara lay on her cot, heart thundering as darkness swallowed the room. Then came the crash, a ceiling panel torn loose, concrete fragments raining down. Guards shouted. Inmates screamed. Elara scrambled to her feet, adrenaline surging. I have to help them, she thought, even as pieces of plaster dusted her hair. She raced into the corridor, her arms outstretched to guide the blindfolded elderly inmate who had been her friend. Sparks flew from exposed wiring, and a guard shouted, "Get back!" But Elara ignored him. She grasped the old man's arm, guiding him away from the live wires. A second later, a massive beam crashed, pinning her leg. Pain lanced through her body as she cried out. Damian, alerted by the commotion, barged into the wing. The metallic taste of fear burned in his mouth. He found Elara trapped beneath the beam. Bone white with shock, the old man collapsed behind her. He pried at the beam with all his strength, sweat slick on his palms. Finally, it shifted, only for the floor below to groan. It could give way at any moment, he realized. Elara's lips parted in a pale smile. Save yourself. Bold instinct erupted in Damian's chest. Not without you. He locked eyes with her, lifting the beam enough for her to slip free. But as she emerged, the floor cracked. Damian awoke in sterile whiteness. His vision swam, bright lights, beeping monitors. He was in the infirmary. Pain seared his ankle. A nurse's calm voice soothed him. Elara. He scanned the room, no sign of her. The blot of fresh blood on his sheets made his chest tighten. Outside the door, a guard saluted. Sir, Ms. Quinn was transferred. Heavy guard. You're disbarred. Pending investigation, his world tipped. Disbarred? He rasped, clutching the bed rail. The guard nodded. Your bracelet showed you tampered with prison property. She's going to take the fall. Damian's heart hammered as he realized the truth. Cassandra had framed them both, and now the law would punish him for saving Elara. In solitary confinement, Elara lay on a narrow cot, one leg in a cast. Her room was a silent tomb. No windows. No sounds but her own ragged breathing. He's lost everything because of me. She curled into a ball, tears soaking the thin blanket. The bracelet on her wrist glowed ominously, a reminder of her crime, his sacrifice. I have to make this right. She pounded the door, voice hoarse. I didn't do it. I love him. But the steel bars remained unmoved. Damian's world unraveled when he saw the headlines. Attorney disbarred after prison brawl, wife in solitary. Flickering images of his fall and Elara's transfer haunted him. Public outcry surged against him. His firm suspended him. Colleagues whispered of scandal. She's better off without me, he thought, despair closing in. In his empty apartment, he tossed the USB onto the table, faithlessly. Cassandra's laughter echoed in his mind. Damian returned to his apartment. Under cover of darkness, the distorted caller's warning echoing in his mind. Rain tapped gently against the window panes, each drop a reminder that time was slipping away. He crossed to his desk. There, half hidden beneath scattered legal pads, lay the original USB. I can't let her face this alone, he thought, sliding it into his pocket. At dawn, he slipped into the warden's office under a forged guard's credentials. The stale scent of bureaucracy and stale coffee greeted him. With shaking fingers, he opened Cassandra's files on the warden's desktop, her digital fingerprints all over the sabotage orders, the forged emails, the planted evidence. He printed every document, contracts stamped with Vale Industries seals, annotated bank transfers, CCTV stills showing Cassandra entering the prison's power room. Emerging into the courtyard, he held the thick stack aloft. Guards paused mid-step as he called out, voice booming. This is the real conspiracy. Inmates gathered, whispers humming like electricity. Even the warden rushed out, coffee cup trembling. Meanwhile, Elara lay in solitary, her single window casting a narrow beam of light across her face. Her spirits wavered, until she heard distant murmurs that grew into shouts. "Free Quinn!" Truth prevails. Footsteps thundered down the hall. The heavy door swung open, and there stood Damian, rain-damp hair plastered to his forehead, arms laden with papers. The metal of her bracelet glinted as he dialed the warden's phone, voice steady. "You're authorized to release Elara Quinn immediately. You have an hour to prepare her file and apologize." He knelt beside her cot, eyes smoldering with relief. "I promise to find the truth," he whispered, gently unclasping her bracelet and replacing it with her wedding ring, gleaming gold at last. "We're free," she thought, tears of joy tracing her cheeks. Across town, Cassandra Vale watched, news coverage on her sleek monitor. Headlines blared. "Exposed, Vale Industries' web of lies. Cassandra Vale arrested live." Police in dark suits cuffed her as she screamed for mercy. The cameras caught every tremor of her betrayal. In the press gallery, Damian and Elara stood side by side, hands entwined. Flashbulbs burst around them like fireworks. Justice at last, he thought, chest swelling with hope. That evening, a gala was held to honor Elara's bravery and Damian's unyielding devotion. Soft chandeliers glittered, gentle music drifted, like silk. Standing at the podium, Damian addressed the crowd. "Love is more than a promise. It is a chain that binds hearts through darkness and a beacon that guides them back to light. It teaches us that true courage lies in sacrifice, and that the purest justice comes when we choose to forgive." Elara joined him, voice warm. "May we all wear our love like a ring, not as a shackle but as a symbol of trust, kindness, and unwavering hope." "Their love shone brighter than any jewel," whispered the guests. Did this story touch your heart? Which moment moved you the most? Elara's sacrifice or Damian's grand gesture? Comment below and let us know. And remember, in the darkest of times, love remains our strongest alibi.